Could lycopene, a plant extract, actually act as an antidepressant? Now, a couple of side notes before we delve into the study. We're looking at synaptic plasticity. And what they did here in this animal trial is they had mice and they basically exposed them to something called chronic social defeat stress. The best way to compare that is basically being trapped in a job or something where you feel like the odds are overwhelming or against you continuously over time. Unemployment, so on and so forth. So with this chronic social defeat stress, it quickly erodes what is called synaptic plasticity. And this is where lycopene comes in. Lycopene, they discovered, helps mitigate the effects of this CSDS quite effectively. So without further ado, let's get right into the study, but let's get a little bit more into the synaptic plasticity to give you a grasp of the meaning of what the outcomes are in the study per se, or I should say how incredible the outcome is. To proceed, previous research has shown a close relationship between depression and synaptic plasticity. Synaptic plasticity refers to specific changes in synaptic structure and function in response to neural activity, one of the brain's most important functions. Impaired synaptic plasticity can lead to depressive symptoms such as anhedonia, which means, like, for example, let's say ice cream you used to enjoy and other things like going out for a walk and so on and so forth. These things that used to bring you enjoyment no longer make you happy. It's not that you don't want to feel good, it's that the things you used to do to help you feel good don't. And you'll understand more as we get into the sucrose test into the study. Basically, cognitive impairment and behavioral despair. Therefore, protecting, restoring a synaptic plasticity may be a new strategy for treating depression. Also, a side note, lycopene is insoluble in water. That's why they use corn oil. It is lipid soluble. And also, too, another highlight. Furthermore, lycopene with a strong anti-inflammatory and antioxidant properties can cross the blood-brain barrier and offering significant potential in cardiovascular diseases, cancer, and other neurological disorders, i.e. But before we go further into that, let's get right into some of the outcomes of the study looking at this particular chart. And for example, if you see the sucrose preference, you're going, well, sugar. Why not? Well, that's the anhedonia effect. Basically, when that chronic social defeat syndrome, stress, I should say, kicks in, things that used to bring you enjoyment don't. In fact, it's almost like an aversion to it. And so the lycopene help restore that, as fair as other ways too. Also too, look basically at the blue charts, the squares down below. The control are basically your non-stress mice. The chronic stress defeat syndrome, CDS mice without the lycopene, notice how they cling to the walls. And the ones being exposed to the stress with the lycopene, you see how they're exploring and moving around? Almost similar to the controls. Not quite, but quite close. But to proceed as follows. That's quite interesting about the anhedonia. Methods. What we have here, lycopene was dissolved in corn oil for later use, being lipid soluble, after the chronic social defeat stress. Modeling was completed. And what they did is use 20 milligrams a kilogram a daily by oral gavage, basically orally. And now I want to show you another chart per se. And we'll get more into the dosage in a second. This is the hippocampal neuronal synaptic plasticity in just 10 days. So you can see the power of that type of despair and how fast it could erode synaptic plasticity. If you're an employer, think of it this way. You may not care how your employees feel, but their cognitive capabilities are extremely important. Yeah, having a positive motivational mood in the office place, this basically correlates to humans quite equally, is very, very vital. But look at that, just 10 days in that drop in, or should I say, the alterations in synaptic plasticity. Now let us proceed as follows. Again, it's going to sound like an iteration, a reiteration, but there's a reason for this. Following the induction of depression, mice were administered lycopene at dosages of 20 milligrams a kilogram, based on the studies prior, which has already been confirmed the antidepressant effect and safety of this dosage. According to the FDA's proposed human equivalent, HED, which is quoting from the study, that would be about 1.62 milligrams per kilogram for humans. Now, we have something called basically body surface area, and I know it sounds counterintuitive, And I don't want to add any potential publisher bias, so I wanted to bring up Gemini and show how the calculation is basically calculated at 1.62 milligrams per kilogram from a 20 milligram per kilogram. Remember, animal to human is not a straight line. So this is interesting. And I know once you see this, you need to go back over a lot of old animal studies where the dosaging may have seemed to be exorbitant. But to proceed to the conclusion, synaptic plasticity is one of the essential hypotheses of depression. Synaptic loss and dysfunction are believed to be associated with major depressive disorder, and changes in synaptic density are related to the severity of depression and network alterations. They discovered that lycopene could improve synaptic plasticity and cognitive function, providing a new avenue for exploring its mechanism of action. These conclusions suggest that lycopene may exert antidepressant effects by enhancing synaptic plasticity, which is the basis of the study, of course, I'm quoting. We observed that in mice exposed to chronic social defeat stress, pre- and post-synaptic components were reduced consistent with previous research. However, after lycopene treatment, the reduction in synaptic-related proteins induced by the CSDS was significantly improved, demonstrating the potential of lycopene in enhancing synaptic plasticity. However, of course, further investigation needs to be utilized, and as well, too, human trials to make sure that this 20 to 1.62 is actually legit. But to proceed as follows, we have to give gratitude to the researchers. Lycopene passes the blood-brain barrier and helping maintain synaptic plasticity has a huge venue of basically options beyond even that of basically chronic social defeat syndrome. What a horrible sounding name, but there it is. As well too, gratitude that you watch, and I look forward to see what you and I both discover next week. Lycopene, pretty incredible. All right, catch y'all next time. This could help a lot of people. All right, talk to you in a bit. Bye.